We'll invite Mr. Alakesh Roy, Managing Director and CEO, Bolt Cargo India Private Limited. So जो हाजिर है वो वजीर है. So शुरुआत करते हैं रॉय सर से. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and obviously the tough job always comes to the tough man. Okay, so tough man is also trying to keep you awake, and let me see how best I can do it. Not that I have got certain product to sell. There is a certain product to sell or something that you are not aware of. So the only thing is that the topic given to me is supply chains risk and resilience. Now, when I see this topic and when I think of doing justice to this topic, I cannot but recall another topic which was in the recent past. In fact, something to tell you about myself. I was the past chairman of CII during the COVID times. So I headed the CII as the chairman during the COVID times, and I know how actually the SMEs, MSMEs, and even companies of large stature like Thermax, and how they face the problem and what are the solutions that we could offer as a platform. And also how we kept the business rolling even during these tough times. आपको मालूम होगा कि mobility was restricted, even petrol and diesel were not available and all those things. So आप अगर देखोगे risk and resilience, we talk in tandem. In fact, risk resilience needs a risk culture. आपको कोई resilient कुछ बनना है तो आपको risk लेना है. And आपके लिए उसके लिए आपको जो करना है कि you will have to be aware of the risk that is in front of you. If you are not aware of the risk, then it is something that you are fighting in the dark. And let me tell you one thing, one learning will not help you to solve the other problem. Because COVID एक बार आया, we do not know और किस दूसरा form में क्या आएगा in the coming future. So strong defensive layers against unknown risk, as well as respond to be more quick in the event of serious crisis and operational front. What are the supply risks that we envisage? आपका incoming बंद हो गया, outgoing बंद हो गया, factory बंद हो गया, raw material आना बंद हो गया. आप अगर देखोगे एक समय था जब we were thinking of global distribution channel and global supply channel. Suddenly post-COVID, you are saying that everything is disrupted, and for one component, or maybe the semiconductor, the car production was halted. So these are the kind of risks that we carry. Even if you have all the intent, all the money, and all the things in place, you will not be able to deliver what the customer needs. आप अगर देखोगे what is the definition of supply chain management, अगर हम लोग जो UK Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport इसको बात करते हैं तो getting the right product in the right quantity, in the right condition, in the right place, at the right time, to the right customer at the right place. Now आप अगर देखोगे everything has got right to it when the world moves, when nothing is right to it. So theory में एक चीज़ बोला जाता है कि everything has to be right, and then I'll tell you as I progress, I'll tell you what the theology is transforming into. So आप अगर देखोगे you need, all the organization today needs to be adaptable and the ability to bounce back and adapt to the new policies and developing and mitigating the supply chain risk. That is what every one of you are doing today. I am sure every one of you has come out of the problem of COVID and you are doing this. तो supply chain risk में हम लोग जब बात करते हैं, we do not talk about anything other than supply chain and input and output. But you also must remember that there is a financial risk also, scope schedule risk. आप देखोगे suddenly there is a change in scope. There is a legal risk. There is an environmental risk. There is a socio-political risk. Like Ukraine war, you see that this risk was never envisaged, but it came. The project organization risk and the human behavior risk. I'll tell you this human behavior risk, why it is so important today, and this is what I wanted to touch upon, that हम लोग सारे चीज़ के बात करते हैं, and every one of you are happy that we are the entrepreneurs at the end of the day, giving employment to people, and we being in a certain segment of industry that, okay, we are above IQ and all those things. Today or tomorrow you will find that you will not have people who are employable, and that is most of the major big companies are facing. That today you will find that even for a manufacturing setup, no one is interested to join. No one is interested to join and slog in the shop floor. No one is interested to work in the shifts. So this is also a risk which you are carrying when you are running an organization and we are trying to grow the organization. I'll give you an anecdote, and this is a very true anecdote. And one of my classmates, he is the air commodore into technology integration in the defense. He was saying that Today the problem is that they have got all the latest machineries. Rafale se leke aap bolo kuch bhi hai. But they are finding it hard for people to be trained to operate them in terms of maintenance and in terms of software support and all those things. So unless we mitigate all such risk, there will be always a risk in the whole system, in the system as such. So supply chains resilience के लिए आपका you'll have to be aware of the vulnerability, management culture, procurement, operation, demand visibility. So the demand visibility at one point of time, if you look at, I'll give you this example of demand visibility. Even the government and everyone was moving towards a mass communication. That means mass mode of transport, bus, trains. COVID आया and suddenly everything went for a toss and everybody wants to own a vehicle today. To the tune that your new car prices have gone up because of the commodity prices, the second-hand car prices have also been doubled. So the need, what will come in the future is not known to us. And what will trigger that need also is not known to us. So if you have to actually make your system or company resilient to that, you must be having the capacity to make realistic plans. And I can tell you, when the business visibility has gone, पहले क्या होता था, it used to be a 5-year term, 10-year plan, 3-year term. Today we are going by quarterly plan, or even at the max 1-year annual operating plan. If you can plan for 3 years and you deliver the result as per the 3-year plan, you are an exceptional individual and an exceptional company. I do not see any company actually making things happen. Even if you look at the steel industry, they were from a loss making to commodity pricing going up. They have become a profit making. They have cleared all their debts, and as a result of that, all the other companies are bleeding because the steel and the commodity prices have gone up. So you will have to be making realistic plans, and also you will have to have the ability to carry out those plans. And business. Although people say that business do not run on impulses, they run on certain analytical tools. But at the end of the day, the entrepreneurs, it is your that sixth sight or the impulse that runs the business. आपको लगता है कि इस रास्ते में जाने से ठीक रहेगा is what guides the industry. Maybe that analytical tool will help you, but at the end of the day, it is your sense of business, that fine acumen that you have in you, is actually helping the business to come out of any crisis, any risk, and that is the resilience that you need to build. Obviously, confidence and how you communicate, having the confidence in your strength and abilities. So these are the whole thing. Another thing which is, and this is a very dear subject to me, is today's world. We talk about learning, education, and all those things. But let me tell you, we'll have to, and especially at this age when you are in, at 40 plus, you'll have to also learn how to unlearn. मैंने जो सीखा है, वो शायद मेरा कोई काम में नहीं आएगा. If you start accepting that and move along, I'm sure that as a business we'll be doing much better. We'll be doing much better as a business. And what I can tell you is that there will be many such things which will come in your way. And COVID is just I can tell you with a certain amount of confidence and that COVID is not an aberration. वो 100 साल बाद एक बार आया. Earlier that flu was there, and today after 100 years it has come. But I'm sure that it will not have another 100 years to face another crisis like COVID. So it is better for us to take things as and when it comes. So I'll tell you this, why I'm showing you, I'll also tell you this. COVID has been a positive force in the supply chain management. Every one of us know it. But you'll tell, can any one of you tell me how this data will help you to fight another risk in the coming future? I'm sure this will not help. Some other things might come out. Some other criteria might creep in. And at the end of the day, this will be a data which will be relevant only for the piece of paper, and no one will refer to it because we'll have to fight a new battle at the end of the day. Okay, so far so good for the risk and the resilience. But can we foresee what are the risks coming in the near future? अगर वो नहीं कर सकते as a business entrepreneur and as a business leader, we are not doing our job. So few of them I have noted down. एक तो है कि worldwide instability, be it in the front of water, be it in the front of land. आप देखोगे Russia is annexing Ukraine. They are stopping gas supplies. That is why economy is going down in Europe. That is how USA's dollar is gaining and India is suffering. So maybe that connect, by the time we figure out what is the connect in between all of two, we are gone. We have wasted 6 months of the time. Can we afford our business to be lost for the 6 months? No. So we'll have to have a system where we can actually be nimble enough to fight that thing. I'll tell you another thing, because I was also heading the Southeast Asian as a territory, because I was general director over there, managing director over here in Pune, and I used to frequently travel to all the South Asian countries. And believe me, the kind of hedging the Koreans and Japanese have done is probably the best. Today in India, what we are thinking that, or what US has done is they have to source from China. But what these Koreans, and there was a reference to the Korean community and Korean companies, they have placed all their manufacturing bases all across the world. So probably today, your supply chain needs more localization rather than globalization. So the earlier theory of single supplier will probably go out of the window, and multiple supplier will come in, because you will have to hedge your risk against geographies, again political situations, against logistics requirements. We were producing goods but not able to ship because containers were not available. So ocean freight bottlenecks are becoming huge. If you look at the globe, the containers are short. I do not think the world economy has grown to a level where the containers are all stuffed and people are shipping out. There might be some other reason which probably we are not able to gather and fathom why this container shortage is there. Now, should we enter into a container manufacturing industry? Yes, no, both, but I don't have the answer. So these are the kind of things which we are seeing. Obviously, there is another phenomena which is coming out on the human resource front, is the quiet quitting. So the great resignation, people have gone back to home. They have enjoyed that dal roti and chawal what government has given, and they're very happy staying at their home. They don't want to come back for work. Why should I come to work if my basic needs are fulfilled? And with the internet criteria being in the happening thing, and the gaon mein chala gaya, you travel to Jharkhand, Bihar, UP, people are doing something or other, and they don't want to come back to the cities. If and only if the salaries and the living conditions are to a level which gives them certain kick to come back. Hum log jab, when we are in the college days and all those things and the post-college days, we talked about just in time. Just in time was a fad. Aaj just in time has been thrown out of the window. Sorry for using my word. Just in time में लोग सब डरता है. अगर just in time में नहीं पहुंचा तो मेरा तो assembly line रुक गया. Now the new concept which has come is just in case. Just in case if it happens, what is my contingency plan? आप अगर inventory बढ़ाओगे, आपका fund block बढ़ेगा. If you look at the typical problem that Indian industry or manufacturing industry per se is suffering is the amount of capital employed for business. What is the turnover for the capital employed? Typically, Indian industries are running at around, say, 3 or the best is 6. Service industry runs at 8. And that is why people are flocking towards service industry, because they can roll over the money much faster than what the manufacturing industry can do. In the morning, there were talks about 45 days credit, 60 days credit. I know the companies who doesn't pay for more than a year. How do you run the business? Now, SMEs, MSMEs, Government of India, in fact, Salunka Sahab has told the minister has not read the document. Okay, it is on a lighter note, it is good. But suffer कौन कर रहा है? Suffer हम ही लोग कर रहे हैं. और suffering कम करने के लिए आप देखोगे तो ultimately cost will be borne by us, who are the entrepreneurs running the business. So it is us who will have to actually find ways and means how to navigate our business. It cannot be someone else will guide us how to, yeah. Obviously you can listen. I also listen to many of the things. It is upon us, because I am sure that as entrepreneurs you are doing a great job. You have got a far more vision and hindsight to run your business the way you want it to be best done. आप अगर देखोगे, जो worldwide people are also thinking that मेरे पास अगर कोई सामान है, why should I export? You see Indian government is doing it, you see global companies are doing it. What does that mean? That global, the world, the borderless world, जो Al Rais and Jack Trout एक समय famous किया था, borderless world, is becoming a more and more obsolete theory. अभी probably world, WALLD, world की तरफ हम लोग बढ़ रहे हैं. So there will be a wall between Mexico and America. Probably there will be a fence between Bangladesh and India. And okay, you can do a lot more things more than that. But at the end of the day, probably we must also realize that if India, and since my basic background is from manufacturing all across my career span, I can tell you one thing. India का जो 5 trillion GDP में जाना है, and for that, the manufacturing has to grow from 16% of the contribution of GDP to 25%. And if it has to grow from 15% to 25% or 16% to 25%, we require the amount of capital needed is not sufficient, and probably we do not have it. So we need FDIs, we need investment from outside, and also we need to export. Problem is that we are not exporting enough for our industry and for our economy to grow. Now, supply chain resilience at the end of the day, and even the risk, I'll tell you, today what should be the ideal balance between a domestic consumption and export? Any export-oriented economy or a company, if it is 100% export-oriented company, is up for high risk. If it is a 100% domestic involved company, it is lower risk. So ideal mix will be somewhere between 35-65 or 33-66, or on the reverse 66-33, because you never know what happens at what point of time to the global scenario. And with politics, again, coming back to the center stage. And although I am not a political person, but I am seeing a trend that politics are moved from central to left, and it is again coming back to right. See what is happening in Europe, see what is happening in Italy. So you will have to be very agile in understanding how the business and the politics involvement is there in the global sense. And that is how that knowledge and advanced planning and advanced foresight will help you to actually steer your business out
Thank
of
you
this
so much, sir.
risk and build resilience to your system. Thank
next
you.
is Mr. H.S. Pansari, Managing Director, Logicon Techno Solutions Private Limited. And the topic is Insight on Innovative Ideas in Automation and Factory Digitization.
Good afternoon, all of you. It's very tough for me now after lunch. I think my topic is totally different topic, because I'm not going to talk on the funds or the bank or the insurance or the business. So I'm going to talk on the automation, what you are supposed to do in your plant or your machine or your factory, so that now you get most out of it. So I'm H.S. Pansare, heading this founder and managing director of Logicon Techno Solutions Private Limited. So, and also I'm the president of the ISA. Most of you must be knowing ISA, which is a non-profit organization based in US. So I'll start with the Industrial Revolution. So in 1784, during that time, there was no automation. It was a mechanical systems, and steam and power was used as a electricity. After that, in 1870, we have mass production with assembly line and electricity. And there the third revolution was computer and automation, where the first PLC was introduced by Modicon, and that is how the automation system started. So then now the latest one is the cyber physical systems has come, and where we talk about all automation and digitization of the systems. So what are the levels of the automation? So there are different levels of the automation. Level 0 is, it starts from the sensors and actuators, which are actually used for controlling your systems and monitoring your systems. Then we go to the level 2, where the PLC collect the data from these sensors and give the output to the actuators or the valves and to drive that. So that is the level 2, level 1, and then we go to the SCADA and HMI, where visualization is done. So these are the actually basic automation systems from level 0 to level 2. Then it comes to the level 3 where digitization starts, where you get the data from your machines and you analyze the data and take your decisions. So this is a typical factory. We have just shown it, where you have all types of machines, then your operator dashboards, where you can have the auto manning application for skill matrix and supervisory approval. Lets the operator know which machine equipment they need to operate. So that's how that automation starts with. Then we can have the complete energy monitoring system. So we get the energy monitoring done from all the factory equipments, and we can have the data available with us. Then there is a truck management system, where your input and output raw material and the finished goods you can transfer, and that is all can be done automatically. So then we have the line automation. Line, you can collect the data, you can capture the data from the line, and you can monitor that machine, and you can give the commands to the machine, so that all the data is been monitored properly. And the last one is the statistical process control, where actually it is used for the batch control systems, where actually it is done for the bigger size of the companies. Then, so what are the solutions, or what is the factory digitization is? So it's basically, you have to know about the production efficiency. So you need to capture the machine downtime directly from machine controllers. Then we have real-time data available, and you can collect the real-time data for analysis. Then you can have on-demand information access on the web and mobile. Then you go to the product quality and the genealogy. So it is basically product quality is maintained by electronic batch recorder systems, and raw material traceability is also done, and e-ticketing is also done by that. So statistical process control, as I mentioned to you, online data logging, and vision inspection systems. So, and then you can have the complete online monitoring of the utilities, like compressors, boilers, entire plant utility systems. So, and then again, you can also do the automation in the logistics systems. And finally, it comes to the maintenance and safety of the training systems. So how you collect the data from the machine is just shown here. So from machine, you collect the data, put it on the server. That server can be on the cloud, or server can be in your premises. And then you can visualize, and you can decide what actions need to be taken, and what are the things you require to do that. So these are the benefits of the automation. I think most of you know about it. So because of the automation, you can have low operating cost, improved worker safety, then reduced factory lead time, faster ROI, then ability to be more competitive in the market, increased production output, consistency of product quality, better planning, easy integration, and more effective use of workforce. So these are the benefits of the automation and digitization. So what are the challenges you face when you go for digitization in your factory? So basically, challenges are mainly it comes from the people mindset. So people actually on the shop floor are not ready to accept the change, because they are used to fill up the manual data, data and given to the management with some manipulation. Here, if you have the real-time data captured from the machine, so that real-time data you cannot do any manipulation, and you will not be exposed to the management if there are any mistakes. So, so lot of we have executed so many projects in the digitization, and we have faced these problems regularly from the shop floor team, from the supervisory team, and all that. So these are the challenges we always face, and it comes to the. Then we have the business culture and processes. There has to be There has to be management involved in all these decisions. Then only these systems can work. Then you have different types of machines, and you have different type of controllers on the machines. To collect the data from those machines is very tough. because they have the different protocols, they have the different, you need different devices, you need different control converters or gateways to get the data from those machines and give it to the server. So these are very important things which are required to check before you plan for any digitization jobs. So then also you need to have a very strong IT infrastructure and network management system for having that data available and doing that analysis of the systems. So what is the roadmap for smart factory? Keep innovative, adapt early, start with a small thing, start with a small 1 machine or 2 machine, 3 machine, get all the data, do the analysis, see that what output you are getting it, what benefit you are getting out of it, and then you plan for the scalable solution for the entire factory. That is how it works. If you start from the top, it is not going to work. You have to start from the very small things, and then it really works very well. Then involve your key stakeholders, who are your owners of the plants or who are your decision makers. Those should be there in this journey. If they are not there, then you will not be able to do any good jobs with digitization. You also need to have your worker level team who are operators getting involved in the systems. So that is how systems will work. And you need to have the trained and skilled people to operate the systems and to monitor the systems. So now this is about my company, Logicon Technology. We started 18 years back. We do all the automation, whatever automation you require, whether it is a compressor automation, whether it is a boiler automation, with a complete plant automation. We do digitization also. We also have certification from ISO, then UL listing. We are a UL listed company. We also executed almost 5,000 control systems so far, and these are our customers. So, and one very important thing I want to tell you, that everybody is looking for the finance. My company is 100% debt-free company, and I have not got a single money from any bank in last 18 years. First 1 year, I struggled very hard to get the finance from the bank. I hired the consultant, but they were asking for that collateral, and I was not having anything with me. I started this company with 5 lakhs of my provident fund, and today, entire company and entire thing is debt-free company.
All right.
So thank you.
Moving
Thank
ahead,
you very much.
we have Mr. Jigar Desai, Area Channel Manager, Maharashtra and Goa, SBI General Insurance, and the topic is mitigation of credit risk, importance of insurance products and services.
Sorry for that. Firstly, I would like to sincerely thank SME Chamber of India and Maharashtra Industry Development Association for the wonderful conduct. Thank you, Salunke sir, for continuously giving us the platform, giving SME the platform, such kind of wonderful platform. Today's presentation, mine presentation is much focused on a specific line of risk mitigation, as insurance has been a very important tool for risk mitigation, but today we are going to talk much about credit risk. Receivables के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं हम लोग, which again on the subject where we are in between the exporters and manufacturers, one of the most important risk. Very few of you must be known to कि इंश्योरेंस रिसीवेबल्स का भी हो सकता है. कितनों को ये बात पता है कि रिसीवेबल्स का भी इंश्योरेंस हो सकता है? दिस इज़ समथिंग. ओके, थैंक यू. सो हम लोग इसी के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं कि ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, स्पेशली द इवेंट्स दैट वी हैव सीन सिंस लास्ट 3 to 4 years, जिसमें कोविड भी आ गया, जियो पॉलिटिकल सिचुएशंस भी आ गई अभी रिसेंट की. तो इसकी वजह से हमारा जो क्रेडिट पीरियड है, यू मस्ट हैव एक्सपीरियंस कि क्रेडिट पीरियड्स आर इंक्रीजिंग. 30 दिन का क्रेडिट पीरियड 45 डेज़ का 90 डेज़ तक भी एक्सपांड हो रहा है. And this is affecting the overall credits that are between the buyers and the sellers. So how can this be mitigated? How can this be insured? For this, let me take you through a small presentation. पहले ये credit insurance किसके लिए है?
who requires a credit insurance. If you fall under any such situation, whether you want to expand your sales in new market, if you have experienced any earlier defaults, or if you wish that there could be a payment which can be insured, or a payment of your client that can be insured, then these are the situations where you can think about having a credit insurance. Who can be covered under this? Everyone who is in to domestic trade, export trade, large multinationals, subsidiary of international company, SMEs, and nearly all businesses that have trade excluding the diamond industry. When we talk about export trade, I am sure many of you who are into this domain must be knowing ECGC at a large, because export credit is since a long time done by ECGC, which is itself a government body. But the other insurance companies are also into the similar kind of business, wherein we insure the credit risk with certain parameters that ECGC does. Now, what is a credit insurance? Credit insurance is something very much into commercial account receivables, which gives unexpected losses resulting from insolvency or non-payment or slow payment. तो credit insurance non-payment भी cover करता है, slow payments भी cover करता है. By its buyer, again from political risk, as well as from obstruct payments also. So either ways, if your payments are been stuck, there would be insurance company that would help you to adjust those payments, recover those payments, and if not recover, if the recovery is not possible, they will settle those payments for you and ensure that your circulation is completed. Now, usually, these are the situations wherein what we have faced lately in credit insurance market, and because of certain conditions, this situations are getting steeper and steeper over the past few years. The coverage part of this policy is very different from the normal policies. As a normal policy, हम लोग जब इंश्योरेंस की बात करते हैं तो हम एक फायर पॉलिसी होता है, एक बर्गलरी पॉलिसी होता है, शायद आपने ब्रेकडाउन पॉलिसी भी लिया हुआ है, तो ये पॉलिसी लेके आप रख देते हो, एंड एट सच unforeseen events, that policy helps you to reinstate your position. This policy is a very much operative policy. ऑपरेटिव पॉलिसी क्या होती है? जो आपको हर एक इनवॉइस पे, हर एक बायर पे हेल्प करती है आपको. What we do is, first let us understand what this policy covers. It broadly covers into two parts. One is commercial risk and another is country risk. Country risk, you can say it is a geography risk. कमर्शियल रिस्क में इंसॉल्वेंसी ऑब्वियसली कवर होता है. जब इंसॉल्वेंसी का कोई केस आता है तो इट इज़ द ओपन एंड शट केस फॉर अस. देयर इज़ प्रोट्रैक्टेड डिफॉल्ट. थोड़ा हार्ड सा वर्ड है प्रोट्रैक्टेड डिफॉल्ट, बट आई जस्ट सिंप्लीफाई द वर्ड फॉर यू, दैट यू हैव सप्लाइड समथिंग टू X person. X person has supplied to Y person. The payment from Y is not received by X, and thus your payment is awaited. सो इन सच सिचुएशन पेमेंट डिले होता है, नॉन पेमेंट होता है, तो ये सब ये पॉलिसी कवर करता है. एलसी ट्रांजैक्शन, इंसॉल्वेंसी ऑफ एलसी ओपनिंग बैंक कवर करता है. उसके अलावा अदर टर्म्स देयर आर सच लाइक डीए, डॉक्यूमेंट अगेंस्ट एक्सेप्टेंस, या फिर डिपॉजिटरी पार्टिसिपेशन, डीपी, सीएडी, टीटी, टेलीग्राफिक ट्रांसफर्स, ये सब क्रेडिट इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी कवर करता है. We'll come to the part where what is not covered, because that is something जैसे हम लोग हमेशा बोलते हैं कि इंश्योरेंस वाले सभी यही बताते हैं कि what is covered, but the most important part is what is not covered. हम लोग हमेशा एस्ट्रिक लगा के चले जाते हैं कि ये एस्ट्रिक में आ गया, but we'll talk about, I have a special slide for you to understand that what are the parts that are not covered under credit insurance also. Other than that, we'll talk about geography risk, country risk जैसे हम कहते हैं. यहाँ पे ट्रांसफ़र रिस्क, पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमिक इवेंट्स प्रिवेंटिंग डिले इन ट्रांसफर्स आर ऑल्सो कवर्ड. करंट सिचुएशन दैट वी आर फेसिंग since January is one of the best situation to make you understand this type of risk. Government moratorium, exchange control, discharge of debts, multiple situations where जब आपका पैसा फंसा होता है तो ये पॉलिसी कवर करता है. Contract frustrations भी होते हैं, government action that prevents performance of the contract. Such things are also part of this insurance policy. ये policy can benefit into three different parts. First is risk protection, which is obvious because risk protection is something that we all look forward. But being in insurance industry, the policy covers around 80 to 90%, 80 to 90, 95% of the invoice value. तो आपका जितना भी invoice amount होता है, उसका 80 to 95% तक हम लोग insure कर सकते हैं. So that is one portion of the risk protection part. General loss prevention is another part of credit risk because it also ensures that your loss is immediately addressed. तो ये एक important part हो जाता है कि when it comes to credit, the losses are addressed timely. And sales expansion, when you have openness to deliver across all geographies, तो आपका sales expansion एक natural mode पे आता है. Or when there is a surety of payment, you obviously ensure that you match up your production and increase your sales as much as you can. So these are the basic parts and basic benefits of the credit insurance policies. Now the important part is regarding the exclusion part. Exclusion में कोई भी associate company का sale इसमें covered नहीं करते हैं हम लोग unless it is declared priorly that this is our associate company, and the turnover of associate company are also taken in accountable while the proposal form is given to the insurance company. No insurance company covers government departments. Any sale done to any government across the world is not covered by any insurance company. Fine, penalty and interest on delay payments are also not covered under the policy. Disputes on invoice is also not covered. As I mentioned in an earlier slide, that what is not covered will be addressed separately. So before any claim occurs for credit insurance, we ensure that there is no dispute on invoice, shortage or ऐसे टाइप के कोई भी टाइप के disputes होते हैं, we ensure कि वो disputes हम उसको separately address करें. And once those disputes are addressed, then insurance company will come in play for recovery or for insurance settlement. Claim notified post timeline. Normally ये चीज़ होता नहीं है because this is a wonderfully addressed system, but we have certain cases जो दूसरी कंपनी से हमारे पास आते हैं and there are certain cases wherein timeline का issue पहले की कंपनीज का होता है जो हमें एड्रेस करना पड़ता है. तो those things are not covered as a part of policy. And buyer having a overdue payment of more than 60 days after the limits have been withdrawn. So these are very typical situational thing, but since it is a part of exclusion, it is very important to address this as also. कि जब भी कोई default होता है, we ensure कि हम अपने customer को we tell them that to stop supplying to the same buyer since there is a default that you have noticed out of this. So these are the major exclusions. These are the only exclusions under the policy that are part of exclusion in credit insurance policy. What is the value proposition that we have? Because again, credit insurance is almost 100-year-old insurance available in the market. India में ये करीब 24 साल से available है. ECGC is operating since early 90s, but other insurance companies have adopted credit insurance since 98-99. So a value proposition given to the entire domain of credit insurance by SBI General is obviously about the commercial underwriting. There is a smart portal, and how this operates is also very important and very amazing way. when we board any customer, we ensure कि उनके जितने भी buyers हैं, हम उन्हें portal पे list करें with their unique identification. Whether if it is an Indian company, we ask for PAN or GST number, and accordingly we address them on the portal. अगर वो कोई बाहर का एक्सपोर्ट ड्रिवन कंपनी है तो वी आस्क फॉर डिपेंडिंग ऑन द कंट्री वी आस्क फॉर द रिक्वायरमेंट टू एड्रेस देम ऑन द पोर्टल. Once they are on the portal, every customer is on a smart view. So if there are any critical changes in their pattern, that will also be informed to you. तो इससे हमें भी फ़ायदा होता है. We get clear idea about the credits that those companies are enjoying through their banks. But in another way, we also give you a typical idea कि अगर आपका for example एक customer के पास 1 करोड़ का receivable है, and we found out that a major promoter in that company is leaving the company. तो ये एक हमारे पास अलर्ट आ जाता है पहले से ही थ्रू आवर डेटाबेस, एंड वी एंश्योर दैट वी पास ऑन दैट अलर्ट टू यू स्टेटिंग टू रिकवर इमीडिएटली फ्रॉम दैट कस्टमर. देयर हैव बीन मल्टीपल लाइव एग्जांपल्स ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ माय एक्सपीरियंस in this domain, and we have ensured that the cases are settled on immediate basis for credit insurance also. The third important part is collection of claims. So obviously a collection of claim part is an equally important domain in insurance. A typical claim in credit insurance takes at least 150 days to settle. This is not something that we do across the globe. This is the criteria. जब कोई क्लेम आता है तो एटलीस्ट उसको 5 महीना लगता है सेटल होने में. द रीज़न बिहाइंड दैट इज़ फॉर एनी इंश्योरेंस कंपनी दे ट्राई टू रिकवर द अमाउंट फॉर एटलीस्ट 3 months, and after that they settle the claim. So there is a timeline to this entire thing. As I told, okay, there are exceptions. अगर if there is a known NPA, तो इट इज़ अ ओपन एंड शट केस, तो हम वो 15 दिन में सेटल कर देते हैं. अदरवाइज फॉर एनी अदर सच क्लेम्स वी टेक एटलीस्ट 150 days to settle those claims. So this is a brief about credit insurance, which is quite a need of this hour. We have been addressing, and you'll be surprised to know that before 2019, the Indian credit insurance market was somewhere around 780 crore pan India basis पे. वो अभी that has risen up somewhere around 3,200 crores by end of first quarter this year. So we are seeing this rise in market demand, and this was one of the reason why we wanted to address such policies to SME forum. The good part about this policy is कि अभी तक हम लोग इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज यूज टू अंडरराइट मल्टी बायर पॉलिसी, टर्नओवर पॉलिसीज with support of government of India and regulator IRDAI. We are able to launch a single buyer policy for SME customer, for MSME customers जिसके पास MSME certificate है. We can give them a single buyer policy also. So this is something like an added benefit for SME customers, where they can not go for a whole turnover policy and only insure a single buyer, which kind of is tricky or risky to their books. This was a brief from my end regarding the credit insurance policy. If you have any questions, you can connect to me or you can raise it right now, please, sir. Sir, we do not require the financial of the buyer, although we ask aging sheet from our customer. We'll ask aging sheet from you, and your terms of business with the client, as well as your aging with the client. कितने साल से आप कर रहे हो वो हम मांगते हैं. We don't require buyer. We don't touch the buyer also, sir. Yes, please, sir. Yeah, sir. Yeah. First time buyer also we cover. So what happens as an operative part of policy, because in limitation of time, I haven't shared the operative part of policy. हम लोग हर एक बायर को एक लिमिट देते हैं इफ़ इट इज़ अ लॉन्ग बायर, और हम इफ़ यू हैव टेकन अ टर्न ओवर पॉलिसी तो हर एक बायर की लिमिट होती है और एक डिस्क्रिशनरी लिमिट आपको दे दी जाती है. तो वो डिस्क्रिशनरी लिमिट के अंदर यू डोंट हैव टू सबमिट कि आप छोटा बायर है तो उसके लिए यू डोंट हैव टू कम टू अस फॉर एनी अप्रूवल ऑल्सो. एवरीथिंग इज ऑल्सो डन थ्रू द पोर्टल ओनली, बट फर्स्ट टाइम बायर्स आर ऑल्सो कवर्ड. कीप इट शॉर्ट. Sir, the cost is very much different because we are talking about domestic and international market. Domestic will range somewhere from 0.08% to 0.5% say 3% तक का 0.3% of the credit turnover. It's all calculated.
All right, thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
sir.
thank you, thank you everyone.
The next one is Mr. Rajesh Dhumane, Vertical Sales Head, West, Gati Kentesto Express Private Limited, and the topic is MSMEs need to be future-proof in the post-pandemic era.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I think the experts already talks about lots about the numbers and everything, and previously Mr. Pansare and Mr. Alkesh Roy talks about the supply chain. Okay, and again the Gati, we are also part of supply chain. Your last mile delivery or might be a pickup arrangement and everywhere, like we are the partner. So we are not only partner for the MSME, but we are partner for the your customer as well, right? For example, Tata Motors, the licensing at Jamshedpur is most important part, right? So we are also very having a good licensing with my end customer, because ultimately if your end customer is happy, definitely your business will grow. That's how our policy on in terms of logistics. But of course, thank you Mr. Pansare and Akhilesh Roy. He has already talks about some supply chain insight. So I will also talk about something like that. So before start my presentation, I actually I used to get a question that where are you working? So I said I'm working in logistics. So my family and my relatives, what is logistics? So logistics is what again? So during this pandemic, I written one small article on the don't say no to logistics. Okay, because in this pandemic, everything was like stopped, and only the pharma and the logistics was running, because if you don't get any your day-to-day active stuff at your home, everything will get stopped. So that's how the logistics play a very major role in our lives. And every the second part is of course on an inventory. We were keeping most of the inventory at our home during this pandemic. Even though sugar we used to consume for 1 kg or 2 kg, but we during pandemic we used to keep 4 kg or 5 kg of double kind of inventory. So inventory is again important part which play for a business. So MSME as well as whether it is larger customers, for everyone it's inventory. Every customer is looking for that, how to reduce my inventory, how to monitor my inventory so that I can capitalize and I can save my customer and I can get a growth. So that's how about I wanted to start with. So the numbers already very much visible. My other experts they already talks about this number. So of course 64 million MSME in India we have. Out of that, of course, Maharashtra play again 7.5% of ratio. So that's again, I think we are upgrading ourselves, but Gujarat is lesser than that. So that this pandemic, of course, we all learn many things in this situation. How to everyone was working on to just to survive. How because this pandemic given a very bad or good lesson for us, but the matter comes that let's survive. And this pandemic, lot of I think maximum MSME suffered because of this pandemic. I'm like hearing the banks issues and all right from morning. So we all learn about this, but of course we need to take advantages of government policies and all. But the supply chain also play a very major role in our business. So I think we all should focus on that inventory, how we can reduce, and the technology we can leverage. So this is what on this slide. So of course we are Gati, we have for MSME business as well, that the last mile and the reaches to the delivery location is the most important part. And we are here, we are serving 19,800 pin codes across the India. And we have, of course, the digital way, we are very much capable, and we have all API integration in place. You can download your PODs, billing, everything on portal. You can raise your pickup request on also portal. So that's how we are very much inbuilt and capable for IT. This is just on that, every part of India, we have our own presence. So, please reach out to us. We can be a, I'm generally say that if I'm working with my customer, and if my customer is not getting benefit, the benefit is in the sense on their balance sheet, okay? So every customer is looking for the service, not only service, but at the same time cost, right? So both, if I'm not, participating, I'm not contributing, then there is no use of logistics service provider. That's how we thought. So definitely, please give us a chance. Who are already availing, thank you so much. But wherever possibility, please reach out to us. We are really keen for the association. We are part of All Cargo Group, and again, we are very much proud to say that we are the Indian organization. We have across 180 countries reach out. We have our own offices. We are into complete supply chain. We will never say no to our customer. We have right from the import, export. Then we have the warehousing, in-plant. We are ready to invest on capex. We are coming up with a lot of multi-user facility across the India, all the major cities. That's how we have complete supply chain with us, where we can be a partner for you. Being MSME, we have these export-import teams also here. You please reach out to us wherever you wanted to export or import any shipments. Or PTL, of course, distribution, we are here to support you on your warehousing also. We have, the 19 major hubs across India, then, 19,800 pin codes. Suppose tomorrow, if you need any space in any location, we are here to support you at the last mile, so that you can keep your inventory over there, and you can, happily, you can, deliver to your end customer. So,
And the next
I think that's
speaker
it
is
from my side. Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Abhay Daptardar. Yes. Mr. Abhay Daptardar, Assistant Director, MSME Development Institute, Mumbai. And the topic is Strategy and Initiatives of Minister of MSME for Development of Manufacturing and SME Sector.
All earlier speakers, they found difficult soon after the lunch starting the sessions. Now I am finding it difficult to, continue with the same sessions when it comes to the end of the program. Anyways, because retaining you in the same hall for, again, for some more time, it's not a challenge, but it's going to let it be a very outcome-focused. If it is so, then I think you have had enough of exposure since morning, and you have had enough of topics, covered, required for any of the MSMEs to take it forward to global competitiveness. Let me first congratulate Mr. Dhomane. I found he is one of the speakers who kept and he was uttering the same word, that is MSME. Though it is SME being a global phenomenon, we in India, we are MSMEs. Why? Because M is very important. This micro enterprise is very important as far as Indian economy is concerned, because we being, developing nation, trying to provide support to Honorable PM to complete and to fulfill his dream of entering into $5 trillion economy. We being, third or fourth or fifth, I don't know exactly what is the number of Indian economy today in global era. But anyways, we are going to enter into scalable amount of economy as far as global competitiveness is concerned. Anyways, my ministry is Ministry of MSME, the very important ministry. You all are aware of this ministry. There are 3 ministries taking care of industrial scenario in India. One is Ministry of Heavy Industry, second is Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and third is Ministry of MSME. Mr. Domine, I think in his slides, mentioned about how MSME is contributing to GDP of our nation. It is to the tune 28 to 30%, and 45 to 49% of contribution towards exports of this country, and 11 million MSMEs having, 7,000 to 8,000 own product manufacturing companies in India. The number is not that lucrative as far as statistics of global SMEs are concerned. Anyways, but in India, we being policymakers, we are framing strategies for these micro, small, medium enterprises, and in coordination with state industrial policies. So we have 32 states, and every state has its own industrial policy. So in coordination with state industrial policy, we do implement and we do sponsor central government sponsored scheme for MSME sector. My ministry, at present is being headed by Honorable Union Minister MSME, respected Sri Narayan Rane Sahib, and MOS Mr. Yadav. My office is in Sakinaka, Andheri. It's a state capital. In every state capital, we have our development and facilitation office. So somebody mentioned about MSME definition, MSME registration, that is Udyam registration. Mr. Desai mentioned about it. So you require this, and it's a mandatory registration for all of you. It's one of the initiatives, under ease of doing business. You can have your own Udyam registration number. You need not go to any of the offices of state government or central government to get yourself registered as a micro, small or medium enterprise. You can do it on your own, taking a laptop in a lab, and you can get your Aadhaar validated with your mobile number and go for MSME registration. So it's an initiative by Honorable PM since 2014, and it's, it was very much essential to avoid hiccups, while getting yourself registered. So earlier we used to issue this Entrepreneurs Memorandum Part 1, Part 2, and earlier it used to be SSI certificate, provisional and permanent, and all those hiccups. Anyways, now it is become, it is very easy for all of you. If I wish to, make you understand about this investment part, it is 1 CR and 5 CR turnover. It's a composite criteria. So if you are going to invest 1 CR less than, not more than 1 CR, and turnover is 5 CR, up to 5 CR, it is going to be defined as a micro enterprise. And now there is no, this distinction has been removed, eliminated. That is micro manufacturing and service enterprise. So you all are aware of what is manufacturing enterprise. A unit manufacturing any product or commodity is a manufacturing enterprise. And in India, you must have seen, and you all have seen, since 2002K, we have enough of ball game in as far as global scenario is concerned in service sector, and we have enough of BPOs, KPOs, call centers, catering to this manufacturing sector, and global OEMs, global tier ones, So service sectors, they have evolved like very good emerging sector to cater to Indian economy and to bring Indian economy in a front fora. So no distinction as far as manufacturing and service enterprise. So this is an investment in plant and machinery if it is a manufacturing, and if it is a service, it is going to be plant and equipment. So it's a composite criteria. If it is going to be 10 CR and 50 CR turnover, it is small. So SME, Manufacturers and Exporters Summit, I think it is more relevant for all of you to take into consideration, because now it is IT linked. So it is your PAN card linked information which you are going to submit to Government of India. So your upward graduation or reverse graduation is based on the information submitted by you. So please rely on your own information, whatever you have gathered. Don't rely on CS and CAs to submit this information, providing them assistance from your side of any of the middle level management or supervisory side. You be intelligent enough to submit this information as as far as your sources of gathering information from your own enterprise, because it is going to be graduation from micro to small. If it is small, then if it is a graduation to medium, then you are going to lose in a long run, because there are several schemes of Government of India that are only available for micro and small enterprises. Okay. So third is 50 crores of plant and machinery and plant and equipment, and 250 CR turnover. It is going to be medium enterprise. So this is Udyam registration. The only gentleman who clapped for this initiative is really the one who must have undergone the pains of getting this registration done in earlier era. Anyways, this is Udyam registration number. So benefits of Udyam registration number you all are aware of. Schemes of schemes of Ministry of MSME. I think how relevant it is going to be for all of you, I don't know. I'm left with only 1 minute and 46 seconds, so I'm going to take you through these slides. If you have any questions, please. This is procurement and marketing scheme. This is in short, this is for all MSCs, those who cater to, those who wish to do business with central public sector undertaking or central public sector undertakings or central public sector enterprises like oil companies, railways, defense. Okay, so 25% of your share is reserved by Government of India, and there are several reservations for SC, ST and women. Okay, so this is PMS. This is MSME innovative scheme. We have incubation component, design component, intellectual property component. So this is in MSME innovative scheme. Why I just extended my congratulations to Mr. Domne is because he kept uttering the name MSME. Why MSME is very important, because lots of, it's a happening place, happening sector, where innovation is also taking place, but it is ignored by most of the top management of micro, small enterprises. You should give motivation and inspiration to most of your staff and your employees to go for new product development. So this is IPR, this is digital MSME scheme, this is lean manufacturing competitiveness program. When you talk about the global, to become globally competitive, what you are required to, understand when you are running an enterprise is that let it be a system-driven company. So if it is not a system-driven company, you are going to, going to come to that kind of a mess wherein you find everything messed up with systems and all. So We are talking about Toyota Production System. We are providing you assistance, providing you consultants, okay, in a cluster mode. This is zero defect, zero effect. This is going to be a very important scheme for all the MSMEs. And here it is bronze, silver, and gold rating for all MSMEs. And financial assistance is given for obtaining this certificate. So other schemes, anyways, credit link capital subsidy scheme. This is technology upgradation scheme. Entrepreneurship is okay. Public procurement policy, I have mentioned about it. This is champions. We want you to see, playing a very important role as far as Indian MSMEs are concerned. We want you to become champions. We are here to extend every support and assistance to you to avail the schemes of Government of India industries. Anyways, as far as global competitiveness is concerned, MSMEs are in India. He talked about IoT, he talked about Industry 4.0 and digitization of factories, companies, and smart factory. So this is going to be, he spoke about just in time, but now it is delivery online. So the things are going to be, coming into more advanced form. So now we are going to take up even IoT and Industry 4.0 in our policies in coming days. We have already, I mentioned about IPs, we have patent trademark reimbursement for you and other schemes as well. So any one of you wish to, avail these schemes, please contact us. Once again, thank you, SME Chamber of India, Maharashtra Industry Development Association. And Mr. Chandrakant Salunke has been very vocal, and I've been with both of them since last 10, 12 years. And they have been really vocal. They have been pursuing these issues and challenges of MSCs, their constraints, at every forum, because we come across on every forum like High Import Committee from Committee Reserve Bank and our regular meetings at association level. So any of your issues, please put it on paper and submit it to chamber, or let it come directly to us. So thank you. If you have any questions, please have my number. I'll definitely provide whatever to the best of my capability and my competence.
Thank you so
much.
And the next one is Mr. Buddhiraj Deshmukh, CEO, Air International TTR Thermal Systems Private Limited. And the topic is Excellence in Manufacturing and Productivity for Global.
So I think most of the things have been covered. Good afternoon. My name is Buddhiraj Deshmukh. I work with Air International TTR. Air International TTR is a joint venture company between Tata Autocom Systems and Air International, and we are into automotive thermal management. So the topic given to me is excellence in manufacturing for global competitiveness. A lot of things have been spoken about. So I'll set the context to an extent. So this is the quote by late Mr. J.R.D. Tata. One must forever strive for the excellence or even perfection in any task, however small, and never be satisfied with the second best. That set the context. Followed by another quote, which is again very relevant to the topic what we are speaking about. We are moving into a highly competitive environment, the India of tomorrow. Probably it is today now, it's not tomorrow. Obviously, if your name should stand above that of our competitors, we need to be highly market-oriented, much more driven to the customers' needs of the marketplace, and conscious of the quality of our products and services. And more importantly, conscious and aware of the quality of our business processes. This is a quote by Mr. R.N. Tata, Chairman Emeritus of Tata Group. So friends, what we would like to understand here is, there is something which is common across the great companies, and that's the perseverance to excel. And probably we would like to cover maybe a few of the things that would be helpful for MSMEs to drive. And this is like a summarized presentation of it. I would not touch upon these global statements of India versus China, China plus one. A lot of things have been spoken about, a lot of things have been talked. And I hope that you all are aware of what this China plus one opportunity means to us. And this is again, you spoke about what's the Prime Minister's vision, what India manufacturing sector can contribute today and tomorrow, and what kind of opportunities we have. So when we are talking about manufacturing excellence for the global competitiveness, what we should do, probably we think as Air International TTR or as Tata Autocomp is blending businesses with a differentiating winning culture. And excellence, what is excellence? We talked about that great companies have something which is common, and that is the strive to excel. So excellence is a consistency of an institution to provide the highest quality of products and services to its customers at affordable costs, while achieving above average returns. That's most important. It should be a sustainable, profitable growth. This can be achieved through practicing well-defined business processes and improving thereby to meet emerging needs of the markets. So what we have rather summarized this in five statements, I would say, or 5 pillars. First is customer excellence. Second is process excellence. Third is technology excellence. Fourth is human excellence. And the fifth one is the financial excellence. So that brings the cultural transformation for any of the organization. So when we talk about customer excellence, the most important thing is to understand voice of customer, seek information on customer requirements, anticipate new trends in customer expectations. There are various ways we can always talk about. There are multiple papers presented across the seminars. Then there is a lot of material available on the internet about this. Another important thing what we believe is co-creation. The things have gone that there is something that I and you, it's all we. Let's co-create with customers. It helps. It not only with customers, but also with the supplier partners, also with each stakeholders. And that co-creation will drive the sustainability in the long run. Aim for customer delight. Aim for customer delight is, someone has asked some time back about what is the definition of a good quality of a product. How can you define that? So someone told about the good quality is that product should meet the specifications, product should perform the functional requirements. But the winner of that session was a person who gave this statement: my customer should become unpaid salesman. And that's the customer, that's the quality. Human excellence, it's extremely important. Though we are small, medium, or maybe micro enterprise, but safety, focus on human safety is very important. We should always encourage to follow the safety norms. Capability and competence building is again an important factor, and employee morale, employee well-being. There are again various tools, various processes laid down. There are different models, whether it is Dr. Kano's model on TQM, TPM, then Tata Business Excellence model, what we as within Tata Group we follow. So there are various ways through which we can adopt the concepts to drive human excellence. Productivity and process excellence. Again, safety focus is very, very important. Beyond that, it should be quality focus, the plan, do, check, act culture. Compliance to process parameters with a focus on defect-free products and services should be the motto. Cost focus, once we ensure that there is a machine upkeep, there is a timely maintenance, waste elimination and OE, definitely there will be a cost focus. And obviously, the most important thing is delivery focus. Timely delivery and keeping commitments is extremely important. The gentleman talked about about the financial, the creditors or debtors. It's extremely important for whether we are customers or suppliers, we should follow our commitments to our fellow stakeholders. Technology excellence. Keep a watch on technology trends and obsolescence. It's extremely important because when we invest, we need to understand what is my payback period and will this technology be there for the next 5 years by the time I get my returns? Or else there is a possibility that technology may not be there. It becomes obsolete. Simplify processes. Use technology to simplify processes and improve its effectiveness. And the third most important thing these days, and which is available at a very, very affordable cost, is the leveraging the digital. Embrace digitization, leverage its benefits. The last but not the least, financial excellence. Financial prudence is must for sustainable, profitable growth. We continuously should assess the risk, identify the business risk, identify market risk, geopolitical risk, leverage financial simulation models that are available, and to make robust business plans and strategies that will help understand where to invest, what is my return that I am going to get. And the most important for all of us is to keep a tab on the debt equity, because we have always seen what happens when the debt mounts, right? So to summarize, it's all about 5 steps: customer excellence, human excellence, process excellence, technology excellence, and financial excellence. If we follow these steps, probably we can be ready for to take on the global challenges that what the market brings to us. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Any questions?
All right, thank you so much. And moving ahead, we have Mr. Ketan Pinse. Yes, Mr. Ketan Pinse, CFO and board member, ThyssenKrupp Industries India, and the topic is transforming SMEs for better business growth, strategies and initiatives.
Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me over here as a guest speaker. Pleasure interacting with you all. So basically, the topic given to me, let me read it again. It is about, business growth, strategies and initiatives that, this kind of sector needs for overall growth. If you all have been here since morning, and if you look at sessions, there are almost 15 to 16 sessions which have been, constructed in a day. And if we try to summarize all these sessions together, maybe I'll say 3 to 4 sessions were dedicated to, the technology part, digitization part. There were 3 to 4 sessions which were focusing on financing part. Couple of sessions on the marketing side. There are a couple of sessions on the logistics side. So from that sense, we can also understand which are the issues or which are the focus areas which MSMEs should have and which will help them to further grow in their portfolio, in their sector. I am a CFO of a, fairly, I'll say, mid-size or large-size companies in the manufacturing sector, ThyssenKrupp, which has a large dependency on MSME sector. We have a lot of sourcing. I have been with the company for 20 years, so I have seen the growth in this sector. Maybe our sourcing was in the range of 5% initially, way back 2002, and if in 2022, if we see, out of our manufacturing equipment, 20 to 30% sourcing comes from this sector. So that's the journey, even what we have seen, and that's the growth that we have seen in this sector. Just few numbers. Like all the dignitaries who have spoken before this have already covered largely many part of it in interest of time, but would like to focus on, GDP. Even when I was doing research for this presentation, even I was, quite surprised by the percentage of contribution which this sector gives in overall GDP. I double-checked twice for the source, whether it is right or is there any mistake. But if you see, it's almost 6 to 8% of the country's GDP comes from here, which is very important. Almost average 30% of the manufactured output also, is supported by the MSME sector. With 60 million workforce working under this sector, it's a sizable number. All this data, it comes from the MSME government website, which we have picked up. But that just gives the importance of this sector and why this whole day session has been kept. It gives an overview of that too. Okay, what could be the potential strategies for all MSMEs? Now this I have prepared on the basis of our interaction with various vendor base that we have. We being an MNC, there are particular ways of working for us in the industry, and the same thing we expect from our stakeholders, from our partners. 4 areas And if you see, the sessions were also covering all these 4 areas. The first one is innovation and skill development. So whenever we are looking for a vendor, for a partner, we look for these areas, and that's how we assess them. So we have a separate vendor development cell. We have business all across India. So whenever we have a project in a particular, ours is an EPC company, so we do a lot of manufacturing, procurement, and also construction in various states. So there is always a need to have vendor base in each and every state. So when we are searching for different vendor base, we always look for these 4 areas. And going forward also, we are going to focus on these areas. It's a very interesting thing. In an automotive sector, it's a very well-established phenomenon where if you have a new automotive company coming into a country in any state, they come along with their own vendor base, which is still not prevalent in any other industries. But slowly and steadily, most of the MNCs from the non-automotive sector are also moving towards that. We have seen in last 2 years, we have done a lot of rate contracts for many raw material procurements with many of our SME vendors. And it helps them also because it gives them visibility about their growth for next 2 to 3 years. And that's how, on the both sides, it's become beneficial for the company and for the large vendor base also. Why, innovation is required? The basic thing is, coming from the large MNC background, our technology base is at a certain level. So it's naturally done with a lot of investments. And similar expectations are not from the vendor community. But what do we expect is, the sir was raising some questions regarding payment within time, within 45 days. But there are various challenges which everyone grapples through. So at least if there is some level of technological support for that vendor, then the two systems can talk to each other. Many times we have a particular A requirement, but the vendor is not geared up to accept that. A simple thing like we request vendor base to send a scanned document to us for ensuring we book the invoice on time and make payment on time. But at times, certain people are unable to do so. They also lack certain things like scanning the document and sending it across for booking and payment. So if we have certain level of technological, development, innovation, it will certainly help to close the supply chain cycle fast. And that's what we want to also focus on this. So this was one of the examples which I gave. Few pointers. So in last 6 months, almost for 3 months, there was a renewed government focus on this MSME sector. And if you see from April 22 to June 22, there was a 3 months various programs which were run across the country, where our Prime Minister also attended that function in June 22. There's a nice journal which has been put up on the MSME government website. If you all get access to that, go through that. A lot of information has been given about MSME sector. They are also covering about various innovation and skill development programs which they are launching to ensure we cater to these requirements of corporates. A couple of them which I have picked up from here is there is a program on raising and accelerating MSME performance. There is a RAMP program which the government has declared. There is an enhanced implementation and coverage in. So this program is across all states. It's not focused on any particular state, but the government is trying to implement in various states. And it's being aligned with Atmanirbhar Bharat overall program of the government. So there is a renewed focus in that. On the second part is, marketing. Why marketing is important? It definitely helps to showcase your strength. It helps for us to understand the vendor requirements, the vendor capabilities, because at the end of the day, it all depends on who can deliver the product which is required in the right quality within the right time. I think so. He also covered about process excellence. So for a company like us, we need to maintain certain quality standards. So from that perspective, if the vendor MSME is able to market his capabilities in the right way, it will definitely help us to foster a better relationship in the future. So in fact, 27th June is also an International MSME Day, which is celebrated every year. That also gives another renewed importance about the sector and where we are moving along with. I think so infrastructure and technology I have already covered. In terms of, so this is the last point, in terms of financing, I'll say, how our industry works is, we work on a credit term of 90 days to 120 days. Anywhere between 90 days to 120 days, we get our payment from the end customers. We deal with customers like Adani, Reliance, Ultratech on the cement sector side, Ambuja. None of the customers agree for a lesser payment term. So there is naturally a working capital gap which we also face. But with 30% and 40% of sourcing, which we do from MSME sector, there we have to pay within 45 days. Like, so what we say is, there is an interest, penalty and liability. And that's the reason why, to reduce the working capital gap, we have all these things which we should do. So there has to be some kind of technological development on the vendor side. There has to be a process excellence or manufacturing excellence. So if all these things are married, then we are able to reduce this working capital gap, wherein we are able to pay within 45 days. If we have to pay within 45 days, we need to process the bill from the vendor within 5 to 10 days once the material is dispatched. If that is possible, then our working capital cycle improves. We are able to dispatch to the customer within time, and that's how our credit period gets reduced. Otherwise, then we always end up in a case where, because the Act also gives us some kind of leeway, where it also mentions that if you are unable to pay on time, the only reason could be is the bill or the bills have not been processed as per agreed payment terms or agreed purchase order terms. So that way, if you are able to follow on both sides, then it's a good marriage. Otherwise, there is always going to be a tussle between two sectors. Second, also, which I would like to tell you is, if you have not been approached by any bank, you can very well approach your customer if he's a large size customer. We have a very good agreed credit lines with the various banks, international banks, domestic banks. And every time any bank is there at our campus for meeting, they always request for one thing. They said, if you can give access to your vendor base. So it works this way. We are raising a PO of suppose 5 CR on our vendor. Bank approaches us and they tell us if they need only one letter from our side without any liability on our side. But they say we can offer that vendor a very favorable credit term. So normally, it's 8 to 9%, whatever, could be an interest term for all the MSME vendors through banks. But they are able to, or they are ready to give as low as 5 to 6% also. For that, they say there has to be a relationship between the company, the bank, and the vendor. So such kind of models are also there in the market where, banks, through customer, without recourse to the customer, are ready to offer just on the basis of by virtue of having the relationship in form of purchase order. So, there are such kind of arrangements. So wherever you are dealing with your customer, you can talk to your customer. If such kind of financing facilities are available, it will definitely help all the three parties. Other than that, these are the general points. And just a takeaway from this is even government has got various schemes like Mudra Yojana or emergency credit lines, which government offered during this COVID times. So if we are able to avail benefits of such things, then maybe the relationship will get further fostered.
Thank you. That was great in time.
Thank you.
And moving ahead now, Mr. Santosh Kotne, CEO and Head of Business APAC Factory Mind India, and the topic is increased role of AI in manufacturing and process industry.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be with a set of entrepreneurs. I know for a fact that being an entrepreneur is not easy. It needs a lot of grit, not a lot of resilience. I've been listening to the stories about how they built companies and all. So my compliments to all of you who have been giving it all day and night. So I'm here to talk about a slightly different story here. We are a Norwegian startup, and the story is all about how we are bringing that Norwegian story to India and then apply that for Indian manufacturing and pharma and process industry. So we just saw this Industry 4.0. So now we are in a phase where there is a lot of self-driven, self-sufficient, and analytics-based manufacturing and process industries happening. So we are at Industry 4.0, but cutting quickly across, it's not as simple as what we talk, because implementing AI in any manufacturing industry or any process industry is very difficult. Let me tell you a story. IoT has been implemented in our industries since many, many days. So there are three components what we talk about in Industry 4.0. One is data collection, where we collect the data. We are also visualizing what we call as a data visualization. But what I will do with all collected data, so I collect a lot of data, let's say any manufacturing machine or a manufacturing plant throws a humongous amount of data every day. What I'm doing with that data is very important thing. So that's what we are trying to build. So moving across, Indian manufacturing story, I think it has come across much longer way. I think where we started maybe 30, 40 years back and where we are today, I think we made a lot of progress. But still, compared to our counterparts across the globe, we are still catching up. And then when I say this still catching up, I'll be extremely careful, because we are catching up in a much speed. So pretty soon, we will be in par with how the manufacturing excellence been there in the rest of the world. The classic example is that if you look at today, Indian manufacturing or a pharma or a process industry, we have all the global players, be it the BMW or Mercedes or anything, they have a manufacturing plant in India. I think this is a testimony for all the quality we have improved over the years, and then we have been a front runner in terms of the research and automobile and all. Of course, I still acknowledge that there is a lot of work to be done, but we are on the way. So by 2025, we are expected to reach among the world's leading Industry 4.0 implementation. Since we are part of IT revolution since last 2-3 decades, we are amongst one of those countries who are implementing Industry 4.0 very quick. So let me introduce this digital tech. I just spoke about IoT, analytics, AI, ML. So Industry 4.0 today, I think the use cases of Industry 4.0, including AI and ML, it's been extended through not only a shop floor, but it's a complete manufacturing facility, whether it is a consumer or whether it is a marketing or a product. So it's like a very tight integration between what my consumer needs, how the product is marketed, and then what product I'm trying to generate. So there is a big amount of intelligence between all these three components. And in today's smart factory, it's not only about developing something, some component in a smart way. It's the implementation of AI in manufacturing is not only being about a smart factory or my energy consumption. Of course, energy consumption is a good use case, but what I'm trying to say is that the implementation of AI has crossed beyond my shop floor, and beyond my operation. Now it includes the consumers, the marketing, the product, and what amount of feedback I'm getting from my consumers on a real time. So can I tweak my product to suit my consumer? So that kind of intelligence we are trying to build. Let me talk about an interesting case study, what we did in Norway. So I will introduce my company in a while, but before that I want to talk about a use case. So Aker BioMarine is a Norwegian-based pharma industry. And what we did is that two important use cases. By implementing the analytics platform on the machinery, we reduce the downtime and we increase the capacity. So if I can look at the CIO, the CIO on record is saying that they were about to implement or about to develop a new facility, and then because of our platform, they could able to sustain with the same amount of factory. So we practically doubled their output. So that's a testimony of Ulla Thorsen, who is a CIO. So we call him the Chief Improvement Officer, but he is the Chief Information Officer. There is another example of Dinufa. This is again a Scandinavian pharma company, where we improve the utilization by 25%. And of course, energy consumption, as I said, like, it's a very interesting and popular case study of Industry 4.0. And another important thing what we did is we kind of bought in where we started identifying the potential breakdowns, like say what we call as a predictive maintenance. So these are a couple of use cases what we did in Norway. And there are some expected use cases in terms of a process industry, whether it is a reduction of rejected products and less downtime and improved output and improved effectiveness of a quality and a compliance. So these are typically use cases where the AI is implemented for the manufacturing industry. Please note, I'm using the word AI in the manufacturing industry. Purposefully, I'm skipping the word IoT. Because what we are trying to do, as I said earlier, data collection, data visualization, most important thing what we are doing is data analytics. It's not a simple data analytics of visualizing some data, but we are trying to build an artificial intelligence platform. So if I can talk about our platform in a whole, how we do that. So it's a data connectivity, as I said, in the first block. Second thing is where we are bringing the AI. So which analyzes the data, and the third one is we also complement that with the edge computing, and obviously, if I am running an AI component, I need to have a huge amount of a data computing requirement. So that's the reason why we are building the data edge computing. So we always want to simplify the complicated stuff and then get the meaningful result out of the data, what we have collected so far. So the data actually, we believe that it always gives a lot of meaningful result. And then we wanted to search the underlying meaning of that data and the pattern, understand the pattern, and then come back with a meaningful result. So this is again another way of pictorially representing what we do. The first line here is this is a data collection process. This is a connection, and this is where our platform works and then gives a meaningful result here. So I'm not going, obviously, this is a little bit of a technology, but what I'm trying to say is that there is a analytics piece. So we are focusing majorly into AI piece or ML piece to use the data to get the meaningful results. So we are announcing this joint venture with Sumit Group here. So Sumit Group, whom I think we met in the morning, Mr. Prabhakar Salunke. So along with the Sumit Group, we are coming to India. And I mean, of course, I might be the only guy sitting in India from this factory mind, Norway, but we have the entire team sitting in Oslo, and then we are trying to bring the concept to Indian market. As you know, Oslo is a very small country with a very less number of manufacturing and the process industries. So we saw a bigger opportunity for us in India, and then we are partnering up with Sumit Group through a joint venture. We want to bring Factory Mind to India, and how we are approaching to an SME market. And the important thing is we met some customers, and then one of the SME owner, he said that I completely understand what you are doing. I know what is Industry 4.0, 5.0, and I can possibly tell you how it works. But my shop floor workers will not cooperate this with me because they feel that we are bringing some discipline. We are trying to kind of tame them off. We are bringing that time management. So they will ensure to make that everything will go for a toss. So we have drawn a program actually for SME where we'll talk about a realignment of a people. We will train the shop floor people from the SME, and we will try to establish a fact that how it is going to help the shop floor. Second thing is we will also calibrate the processes because we understand SMEs might not be following a very robust and a very disciplined processes. We'll work with you in calibrating the process, because if we are implementing Industry 4.0 and on top of that AI on a wrong process, it's not going to yield the good results. So we will try to calibrate the processes with you. We will do a survey of a machinery, because if we are implementing again analytics or AI on a wrong set of machinery, it's not going to work or it's not going to yield good results. So we will possibly need to retire some of the machines or make some machines smarter, and last is implementation. So what we do is essentially we run through this entire program along with you, because we understand the SME implementation of IoT 4.0, Industry 4.0 or AI is not a simple thing for SME, right? This is me. This is my connects. Happy to talk if there are any inputs for me or input for us, because as I said, we're a Norwegian company who wanted to come to India. So we look forward to catch up if there are any
we have
questions.
Mr.
Thank you so much.
Kiran Natraj. Thank you so much. Founder and CEO, ShopRox, Entrib Analytic Technology Private Limited, and the topic is Industry 4.0, Impact and Advantages for Industries and SMEs.
Good afternoon, everybody. Almost good evening, actually. Thank you, SME Chamber, for this opportunity. Just to kind of make it a little bit more interesting, how many of you are, have done anything in Industry 4.0? Okay, see a raise of hands. Okay, one. How many of you are going to do something in industry? You definitely will do something in Industry 4.0. No. So I think I have my job cut out. So I have to talk about advantages of Industry 4.0 or getting it onto your shop floor. You know what this is? Yeah, right? Yeah. How many of you invest in equity? All of you? Yeah, pretty much. So you always wish that you'd got in earlier, right? Industry 4.0 is like that. You basically need to get in, it's like investing in equity. The earlier you invest, the returns are higher if you start early. There, of course, will be highs and lows. You may try out some things may not work. Why do you need to listen to me? That was a question I was asking myself. Right? We've done more than 120 plus deployments. Factory Mind has just come into India. Even he's got a lot of experience, Mr. Pansare. There is a lot of learning that we have, and I think that's what I'm trying to get out here. We've got more than 50 plus active customers, but more importantly, we have got more than 20 plus inactive customers. So we have a learning about why some customers are still not using it. And one of the key reasons that these 20 plus customers that didn't or are not using the solution is primarily because they put it so that it can be a showcase. Arey, acha dikhta hai dashboard, laga do. That kind of thing doesn't work. You have to ensure that you get, yeah. So what is the key advantage, essential goal of Industry 4.0? I thought I'll just spell it out here. It's to make manufacturing faster, more efficient, and more customer-centric. Keep this goal in mind. So any Industry 4.0 implementation, you need to. These are the two pillars for Industry 4.0. Digitalization, which has been covered, almost beaten to death. And if you're not doing digitalization, then there's something wrong. And of course, the concept of big data. AI that Mr. Kotnis was talking about is all built on big data. If you don't have all the data that you can collect, you cannot analyze. It's a given that you have to do digitalization. If you're an SME and you don't have any system, the first thing you need is probably an ERP. That's the first thing. Don't even look at Industry 4.0 if you don't have any ERP. Look at streamlining your supply chain through software. Then, come down to your shop floor. Why big data in manufacturing? Because there is a ton of data generated from people, machines, and systems. All this can only help make things better, right? You can read this out, but essentially, if you're struggling with quality issues, right, big data can help you. If it will help you also narrowly define the problem, get what you need, how you can harness. So big data allows you. So all these systems, why big data has come across is because nowadays the computer systems, hardware can handle a lot of data. Earlier you would need what they call as a data warehouse. Now you need just a simple PC to be able to do some of that, right? Quickly going through, these are the top 3 reasons. These are, of course, surveyed with bigger enterprises. So product quality and defects tracking, that was the number 1 reason. Supply planning, manufacturing process defect tracking, and then a whole host of other benefits that people expect. Quickly going through a use case, this is something that we implemented for a plastics pipe manufacturer. We started with simple digitalization, production monitoring, but at the same time, when we started this whole journey, we also had the big data concept in mind. So we were kind of logging a ton of data. So the base this was digitalization, but we just logged each cycle time, each injection, since it was a molding process. So we just kept logging it, right? It took us a year and a half to stabilize the project. So it was, of course, the customer was patient with us as well. It was one of our early customers. It took a further year and a half to actually see the benefit, right? And they went from 1 plant 3 years to 5 plants in 3 months because they saw the benefit. They saw that data can help them decide which mold, for example, or which vendor to buy the mold from, which machines to replace, what improvements they need on their maintenance, right? So all this decision making, they saw that this particular plant was able to do it far better, far more accurately, and they saw productivity improvements related to that, right? So this is the basic thing of digitalization and big data, which are the tenets of your Industry 4.0, right? And of course, analytics. What analytics you can look at from an individual perspective, individual shop perspective, one is machine health. There are a lot of ready-made systems out there giving predictive maintenance for simple motors or smaller machines. Look for that. You can go in for line or shop level. Now, these are some of the more expensive stuff. So if you're dealing with a high-quality product where you need to be able to predict quality because the investment for this is fairly large, you can look at that. And of course, analytics decisions, where to invest, where to buy that machine, or where to buy the next tool from, where to buy next mold from, all this decisions become far more easier. It becomes data-driven, right? Coming to what did we learn from India? What makes India so special? We're present in China, we're present in Thailand. We have our own joint venture in China that's kind of taking off. So Shopworks sells in China as well. By the way, Shopworks is made in India out here in Pune itself. So we are still human intensive. The network infrastructure that we put on the shop floor, we take it for granted. It's not a question of putting a simple, 400 rupees D-Link switch, no offense to D-Link, but it's not made for the shop floor. You have to consider that this is a industrial grade switch that you have to put in. So small things like these is the building block for your network infrastructure, right? Tools are meant to be used. So whatever software that gets put on the shop floor, it's a tool. If you don't use it, it's going to lie there, gather dust, right? That is what it is. And skill availability. One of the key challenges, specifically in the SME space that we have faced during adoption, is the people on the shop floor, the operators, and even the supervisors are not that computer savvy when it comes to using a system or a software. That's a place that you're going to have to invest in, right? These are essential things for making any Industry 4.0 or digitalization project successful. The thinking shift that's happening, if you look at large enterprises, it goes from a CIO to a chief digital or chief digitalization officer, and I'm guessing it go to a chief analytics officer. But for SMEs will only adopt if there is a regulatory or standardization, the government gives an incentive for rolling out some Industry 4.0, or if your customer demands that you show them an Industry 4.0, that's the only way adoption is going to increase. And right or wrong, but that's one reason that it's going to happen. And more, very important, look for productized or ready-made solutions. Do not try to go and customize something for yourself. You will burn money. The vendor that you're working with will also burn money, right? If it's a ready-made solution that meets 80% of your requirement, go for it. It's better than having nothing at all, right? So that's all I had. And what are the parallels to equity? Large projects, large caps, it'll definitely give you return on longer, but you need more patience. Small cap, smaller projects, faster.
Thank you,
but
sir.
the risk is
And
there, it may
last
fail.
but not the least, Advocate Gauri Bhave,
thank you.
founder IP Assist, empowering SMEs to leverage IP for innovation.
First of all, good evening to everyone. Long back, it happened in America that सगळे धर्मग्रंथ होते, भगवद्गीता सगळ्यात खालती होती. It is some sort of happening today, right now, because IP is the most important thing for any MSME. And I am happy to conclude the session with my speech or my lecture or my presentation, I can say. So, as rightly described by Daftardas sir, that MSME definition he has given. So, I will not waste anyone's time on giving the definition. So, basically, there is a confusion between when I say property, intellectual property or a property. So, movable property or immovable property are the tangible properties. And here I am going to talk about intangible. That is your mind creation. So, when I say IPR, intellectual property right, for India specifically, there are only 5 acts we are going to deal. Rather, we are dealing patents, trademarks, copyright, design, and geographical indication. I am going to run through all the slides bit fast. Patent is a legal right to have the monopoly for 20 years. For all 20 years, you have to renew it annually. If you lose, the market is open. The example which I have quoted is a simple chair. I think 1832 it has got registered, now in public domain. So next, IPR is trademark. Trademark is your identity. If you are going to lose your identity, you are going to lose the battle against your competitor before it starts. The trademark may include name, logo, slogan, specific color, or a shape. Everything can be registered. Even now, we have included smell as a trademark. Talking about copyright as a third intellectual property right is the important aspect in the sense it is your concept, means how you are presenting your concept is what registered under copyright. And as patents are not allowed yet by Section 3K, softwares are solely and wholly covered by copyright itself. So software, no patents as per Patent Act. So talking about design, when there is an invention already in public domain or registered, but shape and look wise the product is different from the existing one, then you should always go for a design registration. Simple, it may cover a toothbrush, a clock, even a embroidery of on a cloth, furniture, ornaments, you just name it, stationery, even medical equipments are also covered under Design Registration Act. So most important act, which is not yet that has not yet implemented so hard and fast, because the example you can see, the Darjeeling tea, that is the first registered mark after 2000, after having a lot of battle with Sri Lankans so-called Darjeeling chai, Dalmaha. So there are a couple of examples which cover the geographical indication like Kochampalli sari, Indori Chanderi silk, then Pashminas from Kashmir. These are all registered geographical indications in India. So I can quote one simple example where all 5 intellectual property rights can be covered. If my watch, just for assumption, it is a watch which is a Rolex. So it is a Swiss company which has its own geographical indication registration under Swiss government. So the name Rolex is a trademark by which the watch is getting sale. Then you can see the dial, the specific design part of that dial. What we can see, the shape and configuration is covered under Design Registration Act. The technology behind working of that watch is covered by patent, that is invention. And many times we receive the warranty card or how to use, what not to do, do's and don'ts वाला एक छोटा सा पर्ची आता है. That is actually registered under copyright because some specific companies have information registered as their copyrighted information. So this is what actual IP is. But how IP will help MSMEs or SMEs, we say. See, Daftada sir left in between because he was knowing that I'm going to cover all these things. MSME has lots of financial aids provided by government. Some that includes discount in international national filings. There is no term like worldwide patent. You have to apply through PCT or to independent countries to get the patents. So MSMEs get discount or financial help from Government of India for filing domestic as well as foreign patents. Same way for trademark, for design also. And the MSMEs are taking good care for MSME authorities are taking good care for SMEs. They have started incubators to help them to register, rather to understand their intellectual property rights. Because it is not like आपने काम करना शुरू किया और you came to know after 6-8 months that you have received the infringement notice from any MNC or any big competitor firm. Because you were unknown that is what you are doing is a already registered IPR of someone else. So there is incubation center which helps you to understand the importance of IP. And above all, Government of India has started doing IPR awareness programs. When I was in Japan in 2014, I came to know that only India and Korea has government-owned IP training institutes. We have our IP training institute at Nagpur, where they teach you what to look for as an IP. So this is it. Devanand will say, within 7 minutes I have done it. So any questions? Yeah. We don't call it as a utility patent, we call it as a design registration or design application. All yours.
Good evening, friends. We have started morning. Now we are ending our program. I hope that all of you must be happy and benefited some of information which is very useful for all the entrepreneurs. आप जानते हैं कि हर व्यक्ति को कुछ ना कुछ तो सलाह मशवरा देने की बहुत ज़रूरत होती है. एंड अगर आपको एक ही दिन में इतने अच्छे स्पीकर्स, इतना नॉलेज मिलता है, तो मुझे लगता है कि आपका जो इंटेलेक्चुअल है, जो हमारे मैडम ने, आई थिंक यू मस्ट बी लास्ट स्पीकर ना टुडे, उन्होंने जो दिया है वो आखिरी इसलिए रखा है कि दिन भर की इन्फॉर्मेशन, जो इनोवेशन इन्वेंशन जो आपने किया है, उसको आप बरकरार रखें. So IPR is most important in our business community and business life because without that you cannot go ahead. आज अगर चाइना में देखोगे तो हर छोटे इंडस्ट्री के पास हर प्रकार का IPR है. वर्ल्ड में मला वाटतं वर्ल्डमध्ये जास्त चायनीजच आहे ना, चाइनीज़ लोगों के पास स्किल है वो. सो कहने की बात यह है कि हम भी हमारे SME सेक्टर में ये एक अच्छा इंकरेजमेंट ला सकते हैं, बट ऑल द आइडियाज़ टू बी कमर्शलाइज ऑन टाइम. नहीं तो केला या कोई भी फल हम लोग रखते हैं तो कितने दिनों के बाद उसका क्या हालत होता है, पेरिशेबल आइटम कैसे होते हैं, वैसा हमारा बिजनेस का भी नॉलेज भी वैसा है या प्रोडक्ट भी वैसा है. तो ये हर बिजनेस का प्रोडक्ट हो या आइडियाज़ हो, ये भी पेरिशेबल समझ के इसको हम लोग अगर बरकरार रखें तो मुझे लगता है ये बहुत अच्छा रहेगा. और फ्रेंड्स, थैंक यू फॉर अटेंडिंग दिस इम्पॉर्टेंट इवेंट एंड आई लुक फॉरवर्ड टू योर एक्टिव इन्वॉल्वमेंट इन आवर फ्यूचर प्रोग्राम. मेंबर बनिए, फ़ायदा लीजिए और अपना बिजनेस बढ़ाइए. थैंक यू.